Hello. How are you? Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm a little bit sick today, but nonetheless, the show must go on. And today I've got kind of a spicy topic, I feel like. Something that might be a bit controversial. American girls versus European girls. How do they compare? Ooh. Well, I can see from the like to dislike ratio, there's definitely some controversy going on in this video. So I very much look forward to it. And then I look forward to reading some comments down below afterwards to see what the people had to say. My initial thoughts, I mean, most American girls are descendant of European girls and men. They're from Europe, like their ancestors. That feels like the wrong word, ancestors. Like it wasn't that long ago. Anyway, my point is, how different can they really be? If I think of like a stereotypical type of girl that might exist here in America that doesn't so much exist in Europe, I would say like the Southern Bible Belt belle who saves herself for marriage and works on the farm or doesn't work and just raises the 7 children and cooks food for her husband before he gets home from the farm. I think that type of girl doesn't so much exist. I mean, they barely even exist here in America now, but I don't think they exist in Europe. That's the only thing I can really think of as far as like a major difference between American females and European female. All right, let's just watch.
Separated by the Atlantic.
I feel like the more I talk, the more offensive I am getting somehow.
Ocean, American women aren't much different from their European cousins, but it's almost impossible to compare women from all across Europe, as the continent covers a real range of nationalities, cultures, and ethnicities. So be warned that this show may make some broad generalizations, which I
mean, there's a decent array of ethnicities and stuff here in America too. Not as much as Europe, but okay.
I hope you'll excuse. What we're attempting to do today is compare European and American women. What makes them tick? How do they behave? And what are the similarities and differences between them?
How do they behave? Somehow that sounds so wrong. Does your woman behave well? Here in Europe, the women behave very naughtily.
That's what we'll try to find out in today's infographic show as we look
Maybe you need a European girl. Is your American girl not behaving?
At American girls versus European girls. Before breaking down the differences between the sexes, let's take a look at the general similarities and differences between Americans and Europeans.
Okay.
As we all probably know, Europeans and Americans share a whole bunch of similarities, owing to ancestral lineage and cultural similarities.
Okay, I said something like that. Damn, the music is loud in this one. I feel like the infographics show 4 years ago, they made the music way too loud. Damn.
Both have a broad commitment to democratic principles and share economic alliances. Both continents enjoy reasonably high standards of living and are considered developed by the rest of the world. There are some differences when it comes to religious quirks, free expression.
This is definitely an American neighborhood. Do we agree on that? As far as a cartoon neighborhood? Look how big that house is. My house ain't that big. I mean, I'm not trying to say that every American has a house that big, but it is the stereotypical. Okay, let's keep going. And how big the front yard is. Let's keep going.
Works, free expression, sense of entitlement, and the morality concept. Americans believe that they are generally in control of their destiny, whereas the rest of the world, except the UK, accept that powers outside of their control are dependent upon their success. Americans are generally more independent and ambitious. In a 2014 Pew survey, 57% of Americans believe their success is in their own hands. Yet Americans, at just over half the population,
that's actually kind of a depressingly low number. Success is in your own hands. Only 57% even here in America, where it's the American dream. Only 57%. That's pretty sad. It probably used to be much higher than that.
see religion as more important than their European cousins do. In France, only 14% of people consider religion important compared
Wow.
with 53% in the USA.
Yep,
World
yep, yep.
statistics show that there is a strong link between people's religiosity and their wealth.
I've never heard that word before.
Religion is generally more
Religiosity.
important to countries with lower GDPs. Almost 40% of Americans
That's offensive.
feel that sex between unmarried couples is immoral, whereas in the
Wow, 40%. Okay, but that does not at all correlate between the amount of Americans that do have premarital relations. There's definitely more than 60% of Americans. I mean, maybe they just think it's wrong, but they still do it.
EU, it is less of an issue. So are American women more prudish? Well, it depends on who you talk to and where you are. Many American women are the complete opposite of prudes, being independent and fun-loving.
What's the exact opposite of a prude? I feel like the writer wrote that, and they wrote that so they didn't say a different word or something. That's just a funny expression. Exact opposite of a prude.
In multiple situations. So with all of these observations, please note that they are just that, observations and not rules. So let's take a look at some of the differences. Both America and Europe are big places, and while it's easy to generalize about people and places, it's also fair to say that American women have more in common with American women, and the same is true for European women with European women. The only real oddity in Europe is the UK, where women seem to behave more like Americans rather than their European cousins. But in
Damn.
general, there are some
I can see how this pissed a lot of people off.
uniform similarities
All across the board. Pretty much everything this guy is saying, I can imagine people getting mad at.
that separate Europeans from Americans in terms of attitude and behavior. When it comes to looks, women are more uniform. In Rome or Barcelona, women normally wear a skirt of similar length, a pair of reasonably high heels, a blouse or top, and long beautiful hair. In America and in London, however, women come in many different styles.
What the heck? Oh god, this video is something else.
Thin women, overweight women, women in goth or
I didn't think he would just say that.
emo garb with black eyeliner and dyed hair. Americans seem to adopt the counterculture more readily, whereas European women tend to adopt a more traditionally feminine style.
That's interesting. Okay. That's something I did not think of. Yes, I could see that. The counterculture is not as strong in Europe. Got it.
It's not unusual to see a girl with a mohawk and a skateboard on the New York subway or the London
Not at all.
Underground, whereas this would be considered unusual in, say, Budapest. While Americans dress for comfort,
Okay.
European women are conscious of class and fashion, even if they're simply
Class? Ew. I hate that word.
walking to the store or going to the gym. Europeans dress for style, and unless they are on the beach, most European women wouldn't consider wearing flip-flops or thongs. Unless they are participating in sports or working out, sneakers are not normally worn by Europeans. European women tend to wear
Did he mean thongs like flip-flops? Like how Australians call flip-flops thongs?
flats with closed or open toes or high heels in most everyday situations. However, unlike most rules, there are exceptions. For social gatherings, American women will dress just as smart as their European counterparts.
Just as smart. Okay. We went there. Okay. You just flat out called them dumb. Every other day they dressed like idiots.
And often outstyle them. Women in Europe are generally more educated than in America. University education is more affordable in Europe, with many countries having free college programs. This doesn't mean that European women are any more intelligent than American women, but they generally have the opportunity to learn more in Europe.
I think that's what that would mean.
Most European women speak at least 2 languages, and sometimes as many as 5 or 6. European
Then again, it is absolutely true that some people who go to college and all, oh, I went to college and blah, blah, blah. They're not always the brightest bulbs. And I did go to college, but yeah, I'm just saying that is not necessarily indicative of actually being intelligent. That's for sure. But on average, assuming college does something as far as learning something at college, I think most people learn something at college, so it's got to increase your intelligence somewhat.
Europeans generally have a good understanding of history and geography outside of their own countries, and most Europeans have traveled to other countries before they reach their teenage
that
years.
makes sense.
Separated from the world by 2 oceans, many Americans never leave their country of birth. Bizarrely, and despite their lack of travel, American women are often more independent than European women. In social situations, American women tend to be more outgoing and curious, making them more fun at parties and social gatherings. Americans have a sense of adventure and liberty unmatched
There's certain thing this guy says where it's just like, I immediately can imagine 10,000 people angrily writing comments.
by women from other nations. In the States, a second or third marriage isn't uncommon, but looking at divorce statistics from 2014, Belgium, Spain, Portugal, Luxembourg, the Czech Republic, and Hungary all had worse divorce rates than the US. In general,
worse.
American women and European women get divorced at similar rates. European women are on average better looking than American women according to some independent observers. America has problems
Who are these observers?
with obesity among the young. This is not as much a problem in Europe at present. Of course, our perception of what is beautiful is a personal choice, but taking into account what seems to be the movie star and magazine standard, Europe trumps America. Riding the tram in Amsterdam, the average commuter might be surrounded by slim and attractive women. In Eastern Europe, the Balkans, and former
This guy sounds like such a creep. In Europe, you'll find if you ride the train, you're surrounded by slim, beautiful women.
Soviet satellite countries, it's
In America, they're obese.
possible to wander around for a while without encountering an overweight, unattractive female. European women are usually approachable, knowing that conversation between a male and a female is not a potential sexual advance. American women are often more wary of advances from strangers. European women often feel that being
Really?
seduced is an appealing validation of their sexual attractiveness and fertility rather than a violation of their rights. A European woman will normally tell you straight up if they're interested in dating and won't subscribe to what is termed flaky behavior. When it comes to dating and
That must be nice.
hanging out, an American girl might be flirtatious and open about her feelings. Americans like to call things as they see them. Europeans, on the other hand, may be more reserved and mysterious about their feelings. A
I thought they just said the exact opposite.
guy dating a European woman may have to rely on his spider senses to unlock the mysterious puzzle that's in her mind. As we mentioned
I think that's universal.
above, these generalizations cannot be proven by science, so we need your input to keep the discussion moving.
Wow.
So join in the discussion. What do you think about American and European women? What are the differences
I respect them all.
and the
That's the only thing I could think to say that was not offensive.
similarities between the two? Be sure to let us know in the comment section.
They're all very respectable. That was the most like offensive video I could imagine. Like a lot of people, I wasn't offended. You know, I don't get offended. I don't give a rat, and I'm not a woman, so what would I be offended about? But I could imagine that being highly offensive to people, which is very amusing to me. And I look forward to reading some comments. Who else thinks this guy's never actually been to Europe? Most of the European countries don't have English as their native language, so we actually have to learn a second language. What does that mean that you have to? So you wouldn't be able to just, like, say France. You couldn't just speak French your whole life? I mean, I understand that would be very limiting, wouldn't it? You'd basically just have to either live in France or Canada. Whereas English, lucky for me, because I don't think I'm capable of learning a second language, especially being as old as I am. But my memory just sucks. So luckily for me, English is very widely spoken. Anyway, this video had to be named What Americans Think That European Women Are Like. To be honest, in Sweden, if you tried to have a conversation with a stranger you just met on the street, not asking about the way or something like that. Oh, okay, like for directions. It's a big chance they will see you as socially awkward or weird and be extremely uncomfortable. Oh. Damn, that's not what this guy said. European women dress for style, not comfort. Someone better tell my wife she's doing it wrong then. Oh, shit. Did his wife reply here? You better not let your wife find this comment. I laughed a little bit when I heard European women don't wear sneakers on a daily basis. That's practically the only thing I see people here wearing. Yeah. That was a bizarre thing. They only wear high heels. It just sounds ridiculous, especially with the amount of walking people do in Europe. For us Italians, style and fashion are a big deal. We love dressing smartly and always being glamorous. What's with this dressing smartly thing? That's because he said that in the video too. I mean, to me, dressing smartly just means you dressed for the weather. We can definitely recognize when somebody comes from the US wearing random baggy t-shirts and flip-flops, or even worse, sandals. Who cares? Americans have problems with obesity. Ah, that's something new. I don't I get this as being sarcastic. That's something new, but it's like I don't really know what their point is. Yes, Americans are the most obese. It's not new. I don't think that's new. Have we always been the most obese? Like since our inception, we were just fat? A European woman will usually tell you straight away if they are interested in you. 10 seconds later, Europeans, on the other hand, might be more reserved and mysterious about their feelings. All right, last one. I'm having too much fun reading these. Talking about Europe is his biggest sin. It's just like talking about Africa or Asia. You fail before you even start. Okay. Interesting. Wow. As I expected. Highly contentious video. Nobody's happy with it. I thought it was funny. I don't know if I learned much, but nonetheless, that was really funny. And it looks like there's like mold on my window. So I'm going to go take a look at that. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you want to. Either way, I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.